Welcome back to Epic Film Sleuth. Today, we will be blasting the recap of one of the most awaited action-adventure sequel of the film Gladiator, which premiered in 2024. This adventure film arouses interest in the history fanatics by showing the ancient Roman times and how they were conquered by the estranged son of the legendary Maximus. In order to find what happens next, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more content. And let's get started. The film opens with a man named Hanno living happily with his wife, Arishat, in Numidia, Africa. The scenes transition to Arishat helping Hanno put on his armor. It turns out that the Roman army is on its way to attack the Numidians in their sail ships. The leader of the Numidian army, Jubartha, is seen selecting his soldiers, among whom Hanno and Arishat are also volunteering. On the other hand, we see General Marcus, who's dictating the Roman army. Hanno leads his army and attacks the ships. Romans are large in number, so it doesn't matter to them. They reach the Numidian borders and march towards the city. Both armies weigh heavy on each other, and blood of the innocent is shed. Arishat dares attacking Marcus, who dodges her blow. He takes this personally and gets his men to slay her. As she falls on her back and drowns in the sea, Hanno is also attacked off guard, which lands him in the sea too. In his subconsciousness, he sees Arishat moving on to the afterlife and separating herself from Hanno. When he wakes up, he finds Arishat's corpse floating in the sea. The Romans don't give him the honor to mourn his wife and capture him right away. General Marcus officially conquers Numidia on behalf of the twin Roman emperors and orders his men to set fire to the corpses. The living soldiers of Numidia are enslaved and branded by the Romans, in which we see Hanno. As the Romans load them in their ships on their way back, Hanno unites with the severely injured Jubartha, who makes him swear never to be molded into a Roman soldier. We find out through Hanno's flashback that he was originally a Roman named Lucius, but his mother sent him away as the political situation wasn't stable at the time. In the present, Marcus presents Hanno and other Numidians as his trophies in front of the emperors, who crown him for his victorious achievement. They further announce games in the Roman Colosseum in his honor, but all he wants is a vacation with his wife, Lucilla, who turns out to be Hanno's mother. The emperors find him audacious and end up assigning him a pursuit of conquering India and Persia. Meanwhile, Hanno and the slaves are brought under the supervision of a stable owner, Macrinus, who makes them fight some killer baboons in order to train them to become his gladiators. Jubartha gets obliterated by the baboons, whereas Hanno slays them and gets Macrinus's attention. Marcus also returns home to see Lucilla. The following day, Hanno and the slaves are brought to Macrinus. He makes Hanno fight his henchmen. The second Hanno overpowers his man, Macrinus dissolves their fight. Now alone, Macrinus offers Hanno to become his gladiator. Hanno only agrees so he can get back at Marcus and avenge his wife. Back on Marcus's side, he's working on a campaign with Lucilla to impeach the twin emperors because they're corrupt and not fit to rule. The next day, Macrinus brings Hanno to a Roman senator named Threix's party, which he has thrown to entertain the emperors and has a duet. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you subscribe and press notifications so you don't miss future content from me. Hanno fights the opponent Gladiator, in which he refuses to slay his opponent. Contrary to his kind nature, his opponent tries killing him, so Hanno stabs him to end the fight. One of the twin emperors, Geta, praises Hanno and wants an introduction from him. Hanno ends up reciting verses of Roman poetry that go above Geta's thick skull. Geta remains impressed by his strength and asks his people to enlist him in the Colosseum fights as a gladiator. Macrinus also approaches Hanno and encourages him to participate in the Colosseum fights, as it is the only way to free himself. Scenes cut to a secret meeting, in which the Roman Senate and Marcus agree to arrest the twins after the Colosseum's last match. Macrinus visits the senator to discuss the rates to enroll his slaves in the Colosseum matches. As Macrinus brings his slaves in the arena, the emperors make their great entrance with Marcus and Lucilla by their side. As Marcus is encouraged to give a speech, Hanno eyes his targets. He and his slaves are challenged by the emperor's undefeated champion, who arrives on a rhino and ambushes the slaves. When Hanno fights in his father Maximus's style, Lucilla notices it and wonders if Hanno is her son. Hanno gets rid of the gigantic rhino by sprinkling sand in his eyes and engages in a combat with the champion. The champion has him and waits for the emperors to signal him for killing Hanno. But Geta has grown a soft spot for him strangely, who spares Hanno's life. Hanno seizes this opportunity to stab the champion and later decapitates him on the emperor's signal. While everyone cheers him backstage, Lucilla returns home and comprehends Hanno's poetry that he recited earlier. It confirms he's Lucius, her son from Maximus. From her perspective, it's revealed that she sent Lucius away to protect him, as he was the next and only successor of their throne after Maximus and his brother's demise. Next, Hanno is getting treated by Dr. Ravi when Macrinus visits him and encourages him to keep on fighting as a gladiator. When he later sees Lucilla, she keeps questioning him about his slaves, which makes Macrinus suspicious. He later confirms from his subordinate about Lucilla's missing son, and suspects if Hanno is Lucius. Next, Lucilla uses her connections to connect with Hanno in his prison, not knowing that he has brewed hate for his actual mother for abandoning her. She tries to tell him the truth, but he shouts at her to leave. Lucilla returns to Marcus and reveals Hanno's real identity. She begs him to rescue him before the impeachment, so Marcus agrees. The two are unaware that a maid is eavesdropping on them. The following day, Hanno trains hard and gets checked by Dr. Ravi, who becomes his friend over mutual mindset. When he arrives at the Colosseum for the next fight, he discovers that he had to fight Persians in water that's infested with sharks. They are given ships to fight in which Hanno and his gladiators charge at the Persians. Hanno shoots an arrow at Marcus but misses the shot. At last, his team defeats the Persians and claims victory. After the fight, they're asked who shot the arrow, but no one snitches on Hanno. Later, Thrax discovers Lucilla's secret from her eavesdropping maid and consults Macrinus because he knows Macrinus won't let go of his best gladiator. The emperors are alerted of their mission, so when Marcus sends his men to rescue Hanno from Macrinus's prison, the imperial guards fetch Lucilla and apprehend Marcus before his rescue mission. They're brought to the emperors, who are devastated by the betrayal. Caracalla wants to decapitate Marcus, but Geta prevents this. The two are planned to be executed publicly, but Macrinus convinces the emperors to pit Marcus against Hanno in a fight instead. The following day, Ravi sees Hanno in the gladiator chambers, where Hanno notices a name scratched off the great warriors list on the wall. When Ravi tells him it was Maximus's name, Hanno recalls meeting him in person as a kid and admiring him for his bravery and kindness, still not knowing he's his father. Ravi takes him to Maximus's tomb, where he recalls Maximus explaining the intricacy of his armor to little Hanno. Later, the Imperial Guards chain Lucilla in the Colosseum and announce Marcus's punishment of fighting 4 Imperial Guards. Marcus bravely slays them all eventually. Lucilla, on the contrary, fears what the emperors have planned next for Marcus. When they bring Marcus to fight Hanno, he and Lucilla are baffled, whereas Hanno had been waiting for such an opportunity to avenge his wife. Marcus tries to talk Hanno out of it, but vengeance takes the best of Hanno and prompts him to attack Marcus. When the emperor signals to behead Marcus, he surrenders on his own. He finally reveals Hanno's real identity publicly and wishes to die at his hands because he respected his father, Maximus. His greater gesture gets Hanno to surrender too, so the emperors send their guards to finish off Marcus. The guards shoot arrows at him until he dies. Seeing this, Hanno questions the audience if this is how they repay one of their greatest warriors. The audience shows aggressiveness, so Macrinus prefers leaving with his slaves. He later asks Hanno why he gave up the opportunity to slay Marcus, but Hanno expresses being the bigger person to let things go. During their talks about the future of Rome, Macrinus scrutinizes the previous king, Aurelius, which prompts Hanno to question Macrinus about his real identity, but he keeps quiet. Now Macrinus plans on taking down the twins. In the Colosseum, the angry public demands justice for killing Marcus, which baffles the twins. They get into an argument, during which Caracalla storms off. Macrinus shows Geta his support and vows to get Caracalla back on their team. Contrary to his promise, he turns Caracalla against Geta and convinces him to make him the next emperor beside him instead of Geta. Fueled by Macrinus, Caracalla meets Geta with a blade. Geta tries to bring him back to his senses, but Macrinus spawns out of nowhere and helps Caracalla slay Geta. In the gladiator chambers, Lucilla visits Hanno for the last time. Hanno is now a changed man, so he apologizes for Marcus. She forgives him and passes on his father's ring, which is also their family heirloom. While she bids her son farewell, Caracalla introduces to the Senate his new council, consisting of his pet monkey. The Senate is beyond shocked upon this revelation. Caracalla next introduces his second council, who is none other than Macrinus. As Caracalla leaves, Macrinus displays Geta's decapitated head to remind the Senate of the consequences of bad ruling. When he demands authority over the imperial army, The Senate immediately agrees with him, and everything falls in his lap just according to his plan. Macrinus visits Lucilla in her prison and reveals that he was once enslaved by her father, King Aurelius, which is why he's here for revenge. He is going to take over and demolish the dynasty system, which starts from getting rid of her. Meanwhile, Hanno comes out as Lucius in front of Ravi and gives him the ring, which is to be shown to Marcus's army and get them back to Rome for help. Ravi not only agrees to help him, but also hands him keys to all the prison cells. At night, the Colosseum is prepared for upcoming festivals. By morning, Ravi conveys Marcus's army the message from Lucius. On the contrary, Macrinus has persuaded Caracalla and the senators to execute Lucilla. This is actually Macrinus's evil plan to get the public to rebel against Caracalla and have the Senate impeach him as a repulsive measure to tackle the angry public. Aguar, Vigo, passes on the generational wooden sword to Hanno and prepares him to defend his mother. Things go unimagined for Vigo when Hanno breaks free from his cell and attacks him. The other prisoners are already set free by Hanno, so they attack the guards, while Hanno kills Vigo. Accepting his heritage, Lucius now wears Maximus's armor and identifies as the new gladiator. In the meantime, Lucilla is brought to the Colosseum for her public execution. Lucius prepares his soldiers to shed blood for the freedom of Rome. When Lucius shows up as Lucilla's defender, the imperial army overwhelms him, but the slaves make a surprise attack on the army. Macrinus becomes agitated to hear about Marcus's legion returning to Rome. He orders his army to take care of the legion, but the enraged public begins attacking the army. Next, Macrinus runs out of patience and slays Caracalla himself. While Lucius is still occupied by the army, Macrinus aims his arrow at Lucilla, which ultimately kills her. This enrages Lucius, so Macrinus flees. He joins his army to fight against Marcus's legion, but Lucius catches up to him and pushes him off his horse while calling out his wrongdoings. The two engage in a final battle, which is a sword fight. Macrinus overpowers him at first and throws him near a creek, where he attacks Lucius, but it barely scratches Maximus's armor. Lucius retaliates, and at last he cuts open his stomach, which kills him. Lucius reveals Macrinus's malevolent side to the army, as well as his title, the sole heir to their throne since he's Maximus's son. Both armies surrender and preach him, after which he returns to the Colosseum to connect with his dead parents. Here, the film ends.
I am sure you liked the story recap. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps like that.